At the beginning of the movie, we see a girl named Sadia Prova. She is a strong and independent woman. We see her sitting underwater in a swimming pool, holding her breath. After coming out of the water, she checks her timer and finds that she held her breath for 1 minute and 42 seconds. She does this often as she enjoys it. After that, she prepares to leave for the office. Her driver, Mishra, tells her, "Tomorrow is Diwali, so I want to leave early today." However, Sadia replies, "I have a flight at 2 a.m. tonight, so you'll have to stay." Next, we are introduced to Rakesh Subrai, also known as RO. He also receives a confirmation message for his 2 a.m. flight. Meanwhile, Sadia reaches her office and tells her driver, "If you want, you can go home now and do some shopping for your family. Just leave the car keys with me. If I need anything, I'll drive myself." Hearing this, Mishra feels happy. However, Sadia reminds him, "But at night, you'll have to drop me off." She then enters the office where she meets Rakesh. The story then flashes back to the previous night. Sadia goes to the tech room in her office, where Rakesh works. Rakesh has a box containing some fireworks and clues. They follow these clues and end up at a party, where Sadia's boyfriend Vishal proposes to her. He asks, "Will you marry me?" Sadia happily says yes. Both of them are overjoyed, and even Rakesh feels happy for them. The story then returns to the present. Sadia approaches Rakesh and says, "I want to buy a ring for Vishal. Can you help me? Since he gifted me a ring yesterday, I want to gift him one too, and today we'll be flying to Delhi." "Our flight is at 2 a.m., Rakesh replies. "I also have a flight at 2 a.m. tonight. I'm heading to Delhi too." Hearing this, Sadia feels excited. Rakesh then suggests, "All right, let's buy the ring in Delhi." Rakesh goes to his tech department, where he watches CCTV footage of Sadia and Vishal romantically interacting through the glass walls of the office. Watching this, Rakesh mutters, "Will no one ever leave this office?" Later, Vishal approaches Rakesh looking worried. Vishal says, "I made a huge mistake. I was so busy proposing to Sadia that I forgot to book flight tickets. What should I do now? If Sadia finds out, she'll kill me." Rakesh gives him an idea. "Take some flowers for her, and make sure they're lilies because Sadia loves lilies." Hearing this, Vishal says, "You know her so well. If I weren't around, she would have chosen you. You'd have made her happy." Night falls. Rakesh arranges flowers and wine for Vishal, who thanks him, saying, "If you ever need anything, just ask me." Rakesh replies, "I'll ask when the time comes." He then leaves. Vishal calls Mishra, as Rakesh had sent the flowers and wine through him. Meanwhile, Sadia visits the admin head, Anthony, who gives her a pen as a Diwali present and wishes her a bright future. Sadia asks him, "Didn't you go home for Diwali?" Anthony replies, "What would I do there? Who's there for me? I don't have a family." Anthony loves Sadia like a daughter. He adds, "Besides, I have a client meeting, so I'll stay at the office tonight." Sadia calls Vishal, but he doesn't answer. She texts him but gets no reply. Rakesh comes to meet Sadia and says he's heading home. Before leaving, he gives her a candy she loves, which she eats. Sadia says, "I don't know why Vishal isn't answering his phone." Sadia waits for Vishal until Rakesh leaves but eventually falls asleep. When she wakes up, it's already 11:10 p.m. She quickly rushes to the parking lot to find Mishra, as she needs to leave for the airport. But Mishra isn't there. However, the car is still parked. She goes inside and asks the guard, "Have you seen my driver?" The guard replies, "No, everyone has left." "I'm locking up the office now." Realizing this, Sadia decides to drive herself. She reaches the gate and uses her card, but the gate doesn't open. She goes back inside to find the guard, but the office door is locked. At that moment, she realizes she's alone, locked inside a huge office. So, Sadia goes to Anthony's office, but he wasn't there either. She calls him, but his phone was locked in his office's personal locker. Then she calls her driver, Mishra, but the phone doesn't go through. In this situation, she gets very frustrated. She starts fearing that she might be late for the flight, but no one is answering the phone. Seeing this, she calls Rakesh. He picks up the phone. Then she reaches his office, where she finds Satyadia is stuck inside. Rakesh tries to open the door from outside but cannot manage to open it. He tells her to meet him at the parking lot, as the door there might be open. Then they reach the door and Rakesh scans his card to open it. As soon as the door opens, Satyadia hugs him and says, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I was so scared." Then Satyadya tells him, no, the driver Mishra isn't answering the phone, and neither is Vishal. They both enter the building. Rakesh tells her, you go and get your stuff. I'll try to find Vishal. He opens the trunk of her car to get her luggage. But as soon as he opens it, he finds the dead body of her driver Mishra inside. She gets extremely frightened upon seeing this. At that moment, Rakesh arrives. He too gets scared after seeing the dead body and runs with Satyadya to get out of there. But when he uses his card to open the gate doesn't open. They both get stuck inside. Then they quickly run back inside. Satyadya sees the corpse of the driver. She is terrified. That's when she says, we should call the police. But Rakesh tells her, we should first get out of here. He starts looking for the guards' contact numbers. Satyadya is really scared because her driver is dead. She regrets and says to Rakesh, he always used to wait for me in the lobby, but I don't know what happened today. Why did he come to the parking? Rakesh offers her a candy, but Satyadya refuses. Rakesh then says, after you called Mishra, maybe he decided to wait for you in the parking area. That's why he might have come to the parking. After some time, Satyadya starts wondering, wait, how did Mishra know I called him? As she turns around thinking this, Rakesh knocks her out with chloroform. He says, I didn't want to kill Mishra. I just wanted to send him home so he could spend Diwali with his family, but he wanted to meet you to wish you for Diwali. Then he tells Satyadya that he had liked her for a long time, but it was a one-sided love. Satyadya didn't love him. After this, we see the scene from Rakesh's first day at the office, when he first met Satyadya in the elevator. She asked his name, and reluctantly he said, Rakesh. He never liked this name, so he kept telling himself to be okay with it. But Satyadya says, after a long time I heard the name Rakesh. I liked hearing it. Hearing this, Rakesh feels elated. From that moment, he falls in love with Satyadya. He starts learning more about her in different ways. He finds out from her Facebook profile that Satyadya likes teddy bears a lot. One day we see that an office birthday party is being held for Satyadya. During the party, he gives her a teddy bear. Inside the teddy's eyes, he had installed cameras. With this, Rakesh could watch everything Satyadya did at home, including when she ate, what she was doing, all from the comfort of his own room, projected on a screen. Interestingly, he would sit in front of the projector and eat along with her. When she went to take a bath, he would also take a bath. Essentially, he mimicked her routine. This made him feel like he was living with her like a husband and wife. That's why he got more and more attracted to her. He was completely drowning in love for Satyadya. Then one night at 2 a.m., someone visits Satyadya's house. With the help of the camera, Rakesh sees that the person is none other than Vishal. Rakesh's heart breaks as he watches this. He sees through the projector that Vishal and Satyadya were getting close. Rakesh gets furious upon seeing this. In his mind, he had already considered Satyadya as his wife, and he couldn't accept that someone was being close to his wife. The next events you know. Vishal proposed to Satyadya, and she happily agreed. Afterwards, she asked Rakesh to help her buy a ring. Meanwhile, Rakesh notices the security guard has returned, so he grabs an axe and kills him. A little later, we see that Satyadya regains consciousness. She finds herself tied to a small chair. She realizes that she had passed out because of the candy. The chocolate Rakesh gave her likely had something mixed in it, which made her fall unconscious. When Mishra came with the flowers, which was Vishal's plan, Rakesh attacked him with the axe. After killing the security guard, Rakesh returns with his bloody hands. He tells Satyadya, I'll fix everything. He gives her some water and locks her in a small chamber. Satyadya asks, what are you doing? Rakesh replies, this was all Vishal's plan. He told me, if Vishal hadn't been here, maybe I would have been the only one who could make you happy. And that's why he had attacked Vishal. Hearing this, Sadia asks him, where is Vishal now? Rakesh shows her pictures of Vishal, where he can be seen being tied up. Sadia tells Rakesh to untie him. Rakesh says, I can't do that. He asks her, can you give me another chance? Sadia lies, saying, yes, I can give you a chance. But Rakesh doesn't accept it so easily. He says, you have to prove it. Sadia says, I'm going to the washroom. So Rakesh takes her out of the chamber. He tries to untie her hands, but before doing so, he warns her, don't try anything tricky or Vishal will die. Then Sadia goes to the washroom. Meanwhile, she dances with joy. After that, she takes out a white shirt that Sadia had given her on her birthday and wears it. She tries to talk to Sadia, but Sadia doesn't respond from the washroom. Then Sadia opens the washroom door and steps out. Afterward, Rakesh ties her hands and feet. Later, he gifts her a perfume that Sadia used. Surprised, Sadia asks, "How did you know I used this perfume?" He shows her live videos from his room. After seeing it, Sadia is stunned. She starts feeling very scared. But Rakesh reassures her, saying, "Don't be afraid. I've never seen you change your clothes, so there's no reason to be embarrassed." Then he sprays the perfume on her neck. He then says, enjoying the fragrance, "This scent is very old. I've known it for 2 years." Then he asks, "Will you go on a date with me now?" Sadia, scared, laughs and says, "Yes, I will." Sadia actually thought that maybe she could leave from here, hoping to go on a long drive with him. But no, instead Rakesh takes her to the parking lot and starts driving in circles there. This is the long drive. In that parking lot, Sadia realizes that the long drive was only within that parking lot. So she says to Rakesh, "Let me go." Rakesh replies, "Fine, go. You can leave, but one thing, if you leave, what will happen to Vishal? Should I kiss him, looking into his eyes?" Hearing this, she stops. Rakesh brings her back and takes her upstairs. Later, when Rakesh brings flowers for Sadia, he notices that she has untied her hands. Seeing this, he gets angry and says, "You should have told me. I would have untied them." Then he unties her hands. Seeing the rope marks on her hands, he apologizes. After that, he takes Sadia to another room where Vishal is tied up. Seeing Vishal, Sadia screams, but Rakesh tells her, "Vishal is fine, but behind your back he would tell me, if Vishal wasn't here, maybe you would love me." That's not true love. I truly love you. If I'm not here, no one will be. Rakesh tells her, "Now you have to prove that you love me." Saying this, he adds more weight to the dumbbells in Vishal's hands. He says, "As long as you don't prove you love me, Vishal will keep lifting this." In this situation, Sadia starts panicking. Then she starts lying, saying that she likes Rakesh a lot. When Rakesh is with her, she never feels alone and really enjoys being with him. Hearing this, Rakesh is happy for a moment, but then he continues adding more weight. Vishal starts suffering. Seeing this, Sadia tells him, "You've killed Misra. Don't make the same mistake again. What will I do if something happens to you?" Hearing this, Rakesh becomes happy, thinking that Sadia truly loves him. So he takes the dumbbell from Vishal's hands. Then Rakesh steps aside and wonders whether he should surrender to the police. Meanwhile, Sadia unties her feet and gestures to Vishal, saying, "I love you. I won't let anything happen to you. I love you." But at that moment, Rakesh turns around and sees everything. When he sees that Sathdia has left him and said, "I love you" to Vishal again, he becomes extremely angry. He tells Sathdia, "You're taking advantage of my emotions." After that, he increases the weight of Vishal's dumbbells even more, which Vishal can no longer hold. Seeing this, Sathdia tells Rakesh, "Help Vishal." He then grabs the dumbbells. Sathdia tells Rakesh, "I love you so much." As soon as Rakesh hears this, he lets go of the dumbbells, causing Vishal to die right there. Seeing this, Sathdia is in immense pain because the person she loved died right in front of her eyes. Afterwards, she somehow manages to escape and runs outside. Once outside, she starts crying. Then she looks at Vishal's photo on her phone and leaves with his ID card. Eventually, her phone stops working because its battery dies. Then she goes to Anthony's cabin and somehow retrieves his phone from a drawer. In the process, her nail gets torn, causing her a lot of pain. Meanwhile, Rakesh continues searching for her. At that moment, Sathdia realizes that Rakesh has arrived. She hides, but Rakesh spots her. He approaches from behind and says, "Come on, baby. We could sit and talk instead of hiding, right?" Then he sits her down and says, "I thought you loved me." Sathdia responds, "I told you I love you because I thought you would leave Vishal. But you've gone crazy. You're sick. You're mental. After doing all this, do you really think I will love you?" Hearing this, Rakesh becomes even more enraged. But he controls his anger and says, "We should sing a song together. You're very angry. Singing will calm you down." He then leaves. Afterwards, Sathdia secretly places the firecracker, which was shown in the beginning of the movie, into her pocket. While they were singing, Sathya cleverly lights a firecracker and puts it in Rakesh's t-shirt pocket. The firecracker explodes, injuring Rakesh. After that, Sathya grabs a sickle and injures his leg before escaping. She reaches the office gym and hides in the swimming pool because, even after she attacked Rakesh's leg with the sickle, he continued limping after her. She enters the pool to escape from him. Rakesh arrives and starts searching for Sathya, but she is underwater. At that moment, she spots Anthony's dead body. Rakesh had killed him too. After some time, Rakesh leaves and Sathya comes out of the water. She had held her breath for 2 minutes and 28 seconds, which was her best record for staying underwater so far. She then breaks down and starts crying uncontrollably. One by one, she has lost all her loved ones and is left completely empty. Anthony was like a father to her, whom she loved dearly. Anthony also loved her very much. Meanwhile, her beloved Vishal has been killed by her, and she had a very good relationship with her driver. But he too has been killed by Rakesh. In her rage, Sathya rips off her t-shirt, replaces her sandals with Vishal's shoes, and then grabs a sickle to take revenge for Vishal's death as she leaves. Sathya goes to the tech department where Rakesh was sitting. As soon as Rakesh sees him, he starts saying, "Welcome, welcome, you could come." Right after saying this, Sathya attacks Rakesh with an axe. A long fight ensues between them. Rakesh asks him to stop, but Sathya keeps attacking him relentlessly. Sathya was hitting him, but Rakesh couldn't hit him back because Rakesh loved him. Because of that, he couldn't raise his hand against Sathya. After a while, Sathya gets on top of Rakesh and chokes him. At that moment, it seemed like Rakesh was suffocating and about to die. In an attempt to save himself, he pushes a small piece of glass into Sathya's stomach. Rakesh then says to Sathya, "Was all of this really necessary? Look at what has happened to us. Now both of us should go to the hospital." Sathya then throws Rakesh's goldfish outside. To save it, Rakesh presses down, as he really liked that goldfish. Afterward, he picks the fish up from the ground and places it back in the water. Sathya, angered by the fact that the fish was thrown on the ground, becomes even more furious. Because of this, he chokes Sathya and demands that he apologize. At that point, Sathya starts to suffocate and appears to be on the verge of dying, but Sathya kicks Rakesh in his private part. This is when Rakesh snaps back to his senses. He then locks him in that small chamber where he had previously confined him. Rakesh then says, "What did you think that you're a man? Do you think that doing this will make me love you? Can love ever be forced? You really don't understand what love means. Did you think you could force me to love you? Actually, men like you exist in our society, men who consider themselves good, handsome men, but in reality, you're nothing but a coward." Saying this, Rakesh tells him, "I feel like killing you right now, but if I kill you, what difference will remain between us?" With that, he starts leaving. At that moment, Rakesh says, "Whether you say yes or no, I will definitely meet your mother." He knows her address. He keeps saying all this and writes, "I love you" on the glass with his blood. Sathya then realizes that letting him go would only harm him, because there are some people who should never be forgiven. Forgiving them would only lead to them causing more harm later. For this reason, Sathya inserts an electric wire into that small chamber. Then he sets a fire and triggers the fire alarm. Water starts falling down. Sathya leaves Rakesh there alone and takes the goldfish, walking away. After a while, due to the water causing a short circuit, Rakesh dies there. Sathya steps outside and realizes it's morning now. He is free. He steps out and takes a deep breath. And with this beautiful morning, the dark night leaves his life. With that, our movie for today ends. Anyway, guys, that was our video for today. Please let us know in the comment box how you liked the video. If you liked the video, please give it a like. Well, that's all for today. See you in another thrilling story full of twists that will blow your mind. Until then, stay well, stay healthy, take care.